So you want to make a success of your self-sufficient journey? Then stop wasting your time and energy growing far too much fruit and veg. Watch the video and I'll explain why. So what is self-sufficiency? Well, I'm going to define that as growing the vast amount of what you consume annually. So be that fruit and veg, meat, and for us as well here, we have our own wood supply. So we have to provide our own wood fuel on an annual basis. So John and I live on a small holding in the southwest of France, and previously we lived on a small holding in Cornwall, England. We've always produced our own fruit and veg, meat, eggs, and honey. But anyone can begin their self-sufficiency journey, and you don't have to do this on the same scale as we have, but I'm sure you'll find things in this video that are useful to you, whatever stage you're at and however large or small you want your self-sufficiency to be. So keep watching. So you may wonder why I'm actually sitting indoors at the moment making this video instead of being out and showing you my vegetable garden. Well, it's very hot here today and I have done my stuff in the garden early this morning when it was cooler, done my watering, done a little spot of weeding, and this is the point that I want to make. I'm not strict. I work with the seasons and I work with the weather. So if I know I've got time at the weekend, which may be the situation that you're in, that might be the only time that you can work in your garden. So don't be hard on yourself. Work with what you've got. You may decide that you only want to grow one or two vegetables on your self-sufficiency route, and that is absolutely fine. I tend to grow a lot of soft fruit. I have my orchard and my apples, and I tend to grow salad crops and tomatoes here because that is what we eat the most in the summer, and I can plant to cut and crop again all the time with that. Anything that we don't eat, if we have an excess, we process it and we freeze it or we can it, and that way we have plenty to eat going through the winter. And there's nothing quite like going and getting your own homegrown frozen raspberries in the winter for that special treat, to add to a dessert or to make jam with. So don't be strict with yourself. It's supposed to be enjoyable, remember. Okay, self-sufficiency in the garden. What would I grow? What would I not grow? Now, remember, it's supposed to be fun, and part of the reason that you're doing this is that it saves you money. Part of the reason that you're doing it is that homegrown fruit and veg taste better. And part of the reason that you're doing it is that you don't really want to be consuming lots of chemicals and numbers, etc., etc. So what are my favourite veg to grow? Now, we make a lot of soup, so root vegetables are great for me. Parsnips, carrots, butternut squash, turnips, and beetroot. They are my favourite root vegetables. And last year, I started growing sweet potatoes here, and they did fantastically well. So I look at what has been a success and I just repeat it the next year. If there is something I specifically want to grow, then I'll chuck it in and try it. So don't be hard. What would I avoid? I don't want to start growing things that I can buy just as cheap in the shop. Now, I try and get my fruit and veg from farmers markets or direct from the growers. So I won't grow potatoes. I won't grow onions. I do grow a little bit of garlic, but it's only really to fill in the gaps where I've got little gaps everywhere. But I grow expensive things that are expensive to grow in the shops. Salads, tomatoes out of season, you can grow them under cover and you will get them to grow out of season for you. It's a bit too hot here in the south of France for me to grow them under cover, so mine are outside. But any excess that I get, and I do have an excess in the summer, I'll process them. I'll make sauces, I'll make soups, and I'll just freeze the pulp until I'm ready to decide what I want to do with it. Salads are expensive, so I've always got a little bunch of salad leaves growing, and I just reseed my plot every 14 days or so that I've got a continuous crop. And again, I'll put seeds in where there's little gaps. So I might plant a few radish seeds. I might plant some beans in a special area. So I'm tending to think, what do I like? What is cost effective for me to grow? And I don't kill myself doing it. It's supposed to be fun. And if you are trying to do everything in one go, you'll get burnout, guys, and you'll probably get sore backs, sore knees, and it'll just put you off. So think about what you want to do and plan it. And it's got to coincide with your working life, with your family life, and obviously on your climate, and how much land that you have to devote to this. So do your planning. Okay, so I'm going to give you one last thought. Imagine you've started your self-sufficiency journey. You've grown and harvested some crops. Brilliant. The stuff that you don't eat fresh right away, you can put into the freezer or dry it or can it or whatever. I like to use a lot of stuff that I grow in soups and then I freeze them. But if you still have excess, have a swap with your friends and neighbours, especially if they are gardeners as well. There's nothing better than having a friend who has a peach tree. And if you have an apple tree and you have too many apples, then swap some of your apples for some of our peaches. We have friends that we swap our lamb for trout. We don't ask too many questions about that, but it's absolutely lovely and it grows in the freezer. So think outside the box. Barter system is brilliant. We even grow a small amount of curly kale in our vegetable garden in the winter as a winter treat for the sheep, because let's face it, eating sheep pellets and grass that doesn't have an awful lot of nutrition in it and hay isn't exactly a diet to look forward to. So a little bit of curly kale goes a long, long way with them. So please give your self-sufficient journey a try. Don't try and grow tons and tons and tons of food when you need to specialise. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like it. Also consider subscribing to the channel. I'm sure there's loads of videos in there that you'll find useful to you. And thanks for watching.